Coming up next, we have another heroic sheriff who really has put his neck out to stand for we the people, to stand for election integrity. Sheriff Dar Leaf. He's from Barry County in Michigan. Please come on up. Thank you, Sheriff, and give him a round of applause.
Guys need more coffee. It was a little weak. Anyways, I get asked all the time to say, Sheriff, what is it like investigating this voter fraud? And I always give this example. I said, when I was a young man, I had two stepbrothers and myself and my brother. We were at our grandpa's farm up in West Branch, Michigan, and here was this great big mound of pure snow. I mean, it was beautiful. There was no footprints or anything like that. So my stepbrother walked around one side of it, and I lofted a snowball over there and picked him off. So he comes charging over that. Next thing you know, we're tackling each other on that big old mound of snow. And we did that for about 2.5 hours. And that beautiful white snow kind of turned a little gray and a little muddy. And we're sitting down at the bottom of that hill, and we're going, what's that smell? We're at a farm, folks. That's a manure pile. That's what it's like investigating this stuff. We see this pure snow on top, and we start digging around in it. There's some shit underneath, so sorry to put it that way. Yeah, it's been difficult. Every time I turn around, there's been obstacles, walls, whatever you want to call it. I first got introduced into this election stuff when July of 2020. I had two attorneys. One was from Virginia, and the other one's from Kansas, and they wanted to meet with me, and I'm sitting there going, all right, there's 3,087 sheriffs in the country. Why'd you pick me, you know? So I went down and to our classroom, met with them, and it was the first time I ever heard Dominion, ES&S, Smartmatic, computerized voting, all that. It was the first time I ever heard anybody talk about it. And basically what they told me happened November 3rd. But prior to November 3rd, I had an email sent to me, and it was from Judicial Watch. And I kind of sort of knew who Judicial Watch was. But they're saying, hey, you in Barry County, you guys are at 102% in your voter rolls. So we're a county about 63,000. I went down to the clerk's office, asked her about it. She said, yeah, that's people who have moved, people who have died. We just haven't got them cleaned up yet. So then I looked a little bit further down, and there were some counties that are 108, 110, 112%. So I'm scratching my head and going, oh boy, here we go. So the election happens. I get a call from an attorney. Sheriff, you got to go confiscate all those tabulators. And I'm going, no, I need to show there's something that happened in our tabulator in my county. Okay? It's not that simple. So when you hear people say, oh, the sheriff was out there confiscating tabulators, that didn't happen. We got in a pretty good argument over it, and I stand by my decision. I have to show that something happened in my county with those tabulators, and before I can confiscate them. So, December 5th rolls around. It's the first time I met an attorney by the name of Stephanie Lambert. Yeah, she's the one that's been arrested by D.C., had to post a $10,000 bond, and she goes up to Oakland County, and they're arguing about fingerprints and whether or not there's a contempt of court and all that stuff. So, yeah, she's still pressing on. She's still very, very effective out there. And, folks, definitely keep her in your prayers. That's a single mom of 3 children. One of those is special needs. She's taken on an awful lot. Every time I talk to her, it's a real fast conversation. And I'm not kidding. We take something that normally take 10 minutes, and she can cut it down to 45 seconds. So, anyway, so I meet her the first time, and what got us going in Barry County was there was a woman in my county who got on, I think she said it was Fox News website, and there's a map of Michigan, and it was all divided up in the counties. And you could take an arrow, you could click it on a county, and it'd give you the voting results at that time. You ever think, what's the problem with that? Right off the bat, what's the problem with that? You're not connected to the internet. How do you know what the voting results are? So that was the first thing I thought of. I go, whoa, that's a little odd. So how many of you guys remember the name of the Natural Law Party candidate for president? I don't either, and I've been investigating this stuff. I can't remember his name. They had the Natural Law Party guy leading our county with right around 8,900 votes. Donald Trump was close second with right around 8,700 votes. Then Joe Biden had 4,300 votes. And she took a picture of that. She thought that was really, really odd. I agree. This is what got all the cybersecurity guys all excited. This is when I got basically my life kind of changed, probably forever. Anyways, by the end of the night, when they were done counting in my county, that Natural Law Party guy ended up with 8 votes. That wasn't the only place that happened. There we had a Senate race also. The U.S. Taxpayers Party candidate, she was keeping track of her vote totals. She's going through the whole night keeping track of them. Then when they finally come with a final tally, she had 14,000 fewer votes than what she had at her peak. Again, that's what got the cyber guys all excited. That's where they started calling me. Then we had a meeting right around Christmas Eve. I had 2 cybersecurity guys come on up. One was spent a long time as a cybersecurity expert in D.C. Another one's from Florida. They flew all the way up to Berry County, little old Berry County. And it started out them trying to explain to me what they were looking at, because I tell you what, when I was growing up, a microwave with that turn, you had a turn knob on it, that was kind of cool, you know. And this cyber stuff was way over my head. So they're trying to bring it down to terms where I could understand it. If I knew if I could understand it, you probably, most of the people my age would be able to understand it. So anyways, we pulled an all-nighter, tried getting a search warrant, and we didn't get the search warrant. Again, it was more likely over the head of the judge. And I look at it as it was on me, because I didn't do a good enough job communicating that problem. And in reality, I did not understand it completely. So as time goes on, we're just like any other sheriff's office out there. I used to have probably 20, 30 applications in my drawer at any given time until COVID. Now I've got 0. It's been like that for quite a while. We're having a heck of a time getting people wanting to do this job anymore. So my staff is strained. We're hurting for people. I'm down corrections officers. I'm down law enforcement. And I got a retired sergeant come on in, and she brings in a pretty thick complaint about the election. Back then, we started looking at the election. That's when Antrim County, Michigan, that was kind of the shot heard around the world, where it's about a 70% Republican county compared to 30% Democrat. And when they got down to their totals, it was completely flipped. So there was a lawsuit filed. There was forensics done on some of the computers there. The guy from D.C. pointed out that, hey, you had hacking in from Germany and from Taiwan. Not connected to the internet. Okay. So that kind of led, we were trying to get ours taken, let our investigation take off there, and it wasn't working too well. I had a deputy who was on light duty, so I assigned him to it. And just to get the ball rolling, get some of this paperwork coming in. And next thing you know, I'm getting a call from one of our local clerks. She says, hey, Secretary of State's office found out you were doing this investigation. And might I add, I had cooperation from almost all the clerks in my county. Secretary of State's office sent I can't remember if it was an email or a letter to everybody out across the state saying, hey, don't cooperate with these investigations, because if you give them information they're not supposed to have, you could be charged with a felony. They all attorneyed up on me. So that was the first major stumbling block, or first wall, however you want to look at it, that we had to face. And of course, then we had a pretty serious double murder happen, and then we had a missing person that took quite a while, a lot of manpower to go find. And so I had to pull my light-duty deputy off to go find this missing person. And the outcome was not pretty on that one. That was a bad outcome. But nonetheless, we started going back to it. The next thing you know, the Attorney General's office gave my detective I got working on the case a subpoena to go testify all the way over in Detroit against me. That scared him to death. He didn't want to do the investigation anymore. I'm sitting there going, how's that not obstruction? I was pretty livid over that. So I hired another deputy, and he had quite a few years' experience from another county. And so I assigned it to him even before we got him in uniform. As you've done drug team stuff, you've done these big investigations. Let's roll on this. Lo and behold, what did they do to him? They subpoenaed him into court to go test, not court, it was some type of hearing to go testify. This time, though, we managed to get him an attorney, and the attorney made a motion to quash that subpoena. He had to go in and testify. And the attorney described it as when he goes in there and did the motion, the judge put his head in his palms, and he looked up at the attorney general, and he says, "What are you getting me into?" And he says, "No, motion to quash is granted." So he gavelled him. That same day, that same attorney general sent an email to that attorney saying that all immunities are off for my detective, and now he has a bullseye painted on him. Well, those are all violations, folks. They're not allowed doing that stuff. So this is the stuff that we've been going through, trying to get this investigation off the ground. So we had to go out and do the FOIAs, because the Freedom of Information Act, to all the clerks around the county to see if we can get this information. So next thing you know, the Attorney General's office assigned somebody because they found out we're doing these FOIAs on these clerks. Oh, we're not quitting. I've never seen anything like this in my career from an Attorney General's office. Usually when we get something that is potentially the greatest fraud ever committed on the American people ever, usually you'd have an Attorney General asking if they could help. Not this one. It was weird. I've never seen anything like it before in my career. And as I go around the country and start talking to other sheriffs about it, they look at me like, the Attorney General did what? Oh, yeah. Yeah, she did. So then they did a search warrant on one of our township clerks, and something to do with a tabulator being removed, and it was long after the election was certified and so on. And that's been another battle we had, because we were working on getting a search warrant for that same tabulator, because she had some weird stuff going on. Shortly after the, the public accuracy test was done, there was probably a week and a half, well, somewhere right in the middle of that, somebody comes into her office and says, "Hey, there's an SUV outside your office there with all these antennas on it. That's really weird." So she gets a phone call at the same time, and they're asking for the make, model of the election equipment. And she says, "Well, who is this, and why do you want to know?" So she looks on out there, so she goes over, grabs her phone out of her purse to go take a picture of that car, and by the time she gets outside, that car is gone. She runs out to the road, and you can see quite a ways either direction, and that car was that far gone. They took off in a hurry. So she thought that was real suspicious. She reported it. She reported it to Secretary of State's office. I mean, she reported it to everybody she thought she had to report it to, and got no response. So that was eating away at her. And somewhere along the line, she decided to have that tabulator evaluated. Well, what's the clerk's job, folks? Maintain the security of our elections, right? How many think our clerks actually run the elections? My hand didn't go up either. Okay, I've been at it long enough. I've seen enough non-government organizations, the NGOs. I have no idea where those came from. We got stuff like friends or partners with the FBI, partners with DHS, and it goes on and on and on. And I'm going, who are these people? Where'd they come from? Are they even American? So anyways, so they did a search warrant on that tabulator, and they took it right out from under us, because we were working on doing a search warrant at the same time. And so I had a meeting with the state police who were handling it. The funny thing was, and this is where I got to put my foot down. Folks, we have jurisdictions for a reason, and that's to protect our rights, to protect our community. This search warrant they got was from 3 counties away, 3 hours away, from a probate judge who had no dog in the fight. They just used him to sign a search warrant. I'm sitting there going, you had time to go down to my county and get a judge or a magistrate in my county. So I find this out after they're long gone with the search warrant, and I think they brought the tabulator back now. And it wasn't until the paperwork come back I started looking at it. I'm going, wait a minute here. First of all, you misspelled berry wrong. Ours is B-A-R-R-Y, and they spelled it like a strawberry. So there again, there's no Berry County like that. So they're going to have to go back and amend the search warrant. And this is the importance, folks, of a sheriff who knows what they're doing. The clerk called me when they're beating on her door when they had that search warrant in hand. she says, hey, state police are out here. They're beating on my door. They're demanding I go get the tabulator. And I says, whoa, wait a minute. Put him on the phone. So she says, hey, sheriff wants to talk to you. He screams at her, I don't want to talk to him. I said, oh, game on. By the time I got my uniform on and drove on out, they were gone with the tabulator. That's how fast they went in and got it and removed it. I finally got a meeting with them, and we sat down. I says, we're trying to discuss what we're looking for, because we were looking at something different. We were looking at the more of the internal workings of that, the software and all that stuff that we've been told about with the cybersecurity companies. They were looking at the removal of the tabulator and having it torn apart. So we're on two different planets on it, and even then, they made no offer to help on our end. They had it. We could have done the search warrants. We could have had it all done, and that didn't happen. So moving on, as we started investigating this, I meet a guy, and he's doing the money trail. Ugh. Oh, my goodness. They've got some websites you can go and donate to, WinRed and something blue, Act Blue. And how many of you guys have ever given a donation to a campaign party for $1.53? It's like that all through there. It's like, wait a minute here. Usually it's like maybe $1 I might accept, but $1.93, $1.27, $5.34. And I sit there going, what it sounds like, or what it looks like, is you had somebody who was way over the maximum donation, so you had to spread it out amongst these other donors. That's what it looks like to me. So the money laundering on both sides, I just shook my head. I'm going, we're going to have to tackle that another day. In fact, that one probably should be done by either state or federal agency, but if they do it, folks, you got to do it to both and clean that up. It was pretty bad. I've been sheriff now. This is my 5th term. This is my 20th year. And so I've been away from investigations for quite a while. So I'm a little sloppy at these investigations. That's why I had somebody else help me out with it. But I know BS when I see it. That Act Blue and WinRed, that really has to be looked into. So for all you sheriffs out there looking at investigating some of this stuff, that might be a good spot to start. All right, then as we start moving on, every time I see a finish line coming up, something happens. And it's like the finish line got moved away from me. More technical stuff comes up. And I tell you what, I had a bunch of information given to me in their emails. And when you're hearing these foreign nationals interfering with our elections, they're part of Dominion. I go look at some of their emails, and I'm talking a page like this, and it's from top to bottom emails from somebody to all these people on there. And I'm sitting here, well, who are they all? Where'd they all come from? Names I can't pronounce, first and last names. Then you had the command center on election night. The Dominion employees are using they're calling them soft phones. You guys know what a soft phone is? A drop phone, a burner phone, it's all the same thing. Who uses a drop phone? Cheating husbands, drug dealers, okay? People who are doing something wrong use soft phones and drop phones, and they're even saying that they're doing it trying to avoid detection. Just stuff like that we're finding, IP addresses outside of the U.S. And this is about the right time. I got to read you something right here. I want to leave on a very positive note here, folks. One of the guys I've been working with, he's been very encouraging, and it's nice knowing somebody that with his skills level that can keep this ball rolling and keep everybody kind of still with the energy to go out and finish this investigation. This is a press release, and it had to do with a bunch of stuff that I had released on Twitter. And it says, for immediate release, 16th April 2024, 15 counts of perjury filed in criminal complaint against Dominion Voting System CEO. Michigan legislators and concerned citizens have brought forth allegations against John Poulos, CEO of Dominion Voting Systems, relating to his testimony under oath December 15th of 2020 before the Michigan Senate Oversight Committee. Mr. Poulos faces 15 counts of perjury based on the allegations. The testimony in question was referenced extensively in the Michigan Senate Oversight Committee, June 2021, report on the November 2020 elections in Michigan. The forthcoming evidence challenges the accuracy of Mr. Poole's statements and, by extensions, questions into finding the Senate report, which, folks, if you get a chance, go look at the Michigan Senate report on the Antrim County and just basically the whole system. I lost my place. Sorry about that. Implications for the alleged misinformation are significant, potentially affecting the perceived integrity of the Michigan's electoral process and the legal repercussions faced by the individuals as a result of the contested testimony. A formal complaint accompanied by supporting evidence is scheduled to be filed with the Michigan Secretary of Senate, the Michigan Attorney General, Michigan State Police. The complaint aims to address the alleged deliberate nature of the false testimony and seeks to uphold the principles of justice. I've been kind of holding off all the news media off from that. I wanted to announce that to all of you. We have forward movement. We finally knocked down some of those walls, and we finally getting information that we're all going, I told you so. So, it's getting me all goosebumpy here. So like I said, this is my 5th term. I'm going to try one more. I promised my wife I was going to retire after the 6th. So that's part of the other problem I have continuing with this investigation. Everybody runs to me when I have people handling the paperwork for me. So we've got more and more being dumped on us, and it seems to be nonstop. Every time like I said, every time I see a finish line, somebody's dragging the line away from me. Oh, you got a little bit more to investigate. So I'm going to end with this. Everybody talks a little bit about religion, and my son asked me when he was about 10 years old, he says, Dad, when you were younger, did you go to Sunday school? And I looked at him and says, yeah, I went every Sunday. He looks at the ground and kind of does this. Probably won't work for me either. All right, that's all I have for you, folks. I wanted that to be positive for you. Keep chugging, keep charging the castle. Thank you.